welcome back to the Mulberry Book Drop. Hey, Bethany.
Hi, Sara.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It feels weird saying that because we're like 3 weeks into the new year already. But
it's true.
But here we are.
It's still hard to write 25.
Yeah, struggling so bad. So bad. Every time I'm writing the date, I'm like, oh no, what did I write? Yeah. I feel you. Well, how's been the beginning of your new year? Slow, fast, done anything fun?
It's going really quickly, but, kids back at school, all that kind of stuff. But we've been doing some hiking, which has been really fun. So we got to go to one of the state parks, but then I also did, there was a guided tour that happened over at the 7 wetlands. Ooh. And it's kind of, if you aren't familiar, it's sort of on the border of like Lakeland and Mulberry, but it's one of the Lakeland parks. And so they had offered this like free guided tour.
That's cool.
Because what they were saying is by April, all 7 of the wetlands are supposed to be open for people to hike on. So currently 2 of them are open, but a couple more months, the rest should be as well.
Very fun.
Yeah. So there were these little tiny tree sparrows. And so we're walking along and we were like, oh, look at those cute birds. And, we're with this group of people and we had our tour guide and all of a sudden they started like dive bombing. And she was like, oh, I think they're, it was kind of gross yesterday. So they were hiding in the trees. And so they're probably hungry. I think they're looking for bugs. And we're like, oh, and then next thing you know, they're like swooping our group. And so they were all over. We were just like, oh my goodness. We're like, look at them go. And they were the cutest things, but like they got really close to our faces a couple times. And yeah, Matt and I both were like, that was almost my face. And I'm like, I think it almost went through my arm because I had my arm up to like move hair off of my face. Yeah. And I swore it almost felt like it came through. It was the weirdest thing, but it was really fun.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I highly recommend. It was a free activity and she was a great tour guide. So it was really cool to see like how it works because it's actually like it's reclaimed wastewater, but and it's it's like man-made because of the phosphate. So that's kind of where the hills come. So there was a whole, I don't want to give you guys incorrect information. So I would say do the tour guide thing, but she was teaching us all sorts of cool stuff about it. So it was neat to see how it came about and how they've opened it to the public.
Oh, I'll have to check that out because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I know you also had an adventure.
I did. I went to New Orleans at the beginning of the year. I celebrated my birthday there. My best friend's aunt lives there. So we really only had to pay for our plane tickets, which was really nice. It was such a good time. First time there. I'll go back. The craziest thing we both got tattoos. And I love it. Some people don't, but it's okay. That was so much fun. So much good food. Oh my goodness. The food was there. My best friend's uncle cooked for us. He's born and raised there. Oh, I can't talk about the food enough. But they use a lot of salt. Yeah. A lot of salt. I said, oh, okay.
I think what I loved most about your pictures was like the colors. Oh, it's just so colorful.
So colorful. We went to like the World War II museum. We went to the Mardi Gras World, which is like it's kind of a museum, but we went on a tour through there and got to watch a video. Mm-hmm. And my birthday cake this year was a king cake, which was really cool. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. One, I've never had a king cake, and I got one as my birthday cake. So it was a lot of fun. We went through a couple different museums. We went through Jamnola, which if you're ever in New Orleans, you need to look that up. So fun. You can take pictures everywhere. But yeah, I'll go back.
Very cool. Yeah, I've never been. It's kind of always been on my list.
Yeah. I will say though, you know me, I was still in bed by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at the latest. Because one thing about me, I'm asleep.
There's no harm in that.
No.
Listen, for how much fun stuff we did when we were in Seattle, like we still had a decent bedtime so that we were like the next day we were ready to go.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh my gosh, were you out there at night? Did you? I said,
Yeah. Well, that's what was funny. People were like, oh, did you go hear any bands? And we're like, no. Like the one day we were like, why is everybody wearing, I think I said this before, why is everybody wearing Green Day? And then we realized, oh, Green Day was literally here playing last night and we missed it.
Yeah. But it was, so much fun. Yeah, I'll definitely go back. Hey, listen, if you go, I'll just go with you. How about that? We'll make a whole plan. They'll never notice that we're both gone, right?
No, not at all.
All right. Well, with 2025, if you didn't know, Bethany and I love to read. I know, crazy.
It is a shock.
A whole podcast about books. What? But with that, we like to make like reading goals. Mm-hmm. So I was curious on if you had any reading goals for this year.
Well, I do, but I think our main goal that you and I both have is the same.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll let you go ahead and say it.
It's DNF. Did not finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're both approaching it a little differently.
Yes.
So we can kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
But it's something you and I have both been working on for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm finally in a space where I can do it, because when I was looking back through my Goodreads and Storygraph and stuff, because it was really fun to see my graphs come up and like, yay, look at how many books I read. I was actually frustrated when I realized that I believe it was 26 of my reviews were 2 stars, and one of them was 1 star.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying that any of those books are not good books that other people might have enjoyed, but they just were not for me at that time. And I just really was like, why did I spend so much time finishing, a couple of them were book club books, and my book club, like we actually talked about this yesterday during one of our groups, and we were all laughing about it because it was like the same couple of books for all of us. But, but it's, we love to read.
Right.
It's a fun hobby for us, but it is a very time consuming hobby. And so if you're going to put forth that much time, like, you should be enjoying it.
Right.
And I think that's a really important piece of it. And so I have come up with what I'm going to try this year. So my first rule is I'm not allowed to add a book to Goodreads or Storygraph until I am a minimum of 50% done with it.
Okay.
So if you listen to our Reader Quirks episode that we had done a while ago, you know that I tend to put a piece of paper or a bookmark at the halfway point in a book, because it's fun for me to know when I've reached the halfway point. So I'm like, I don't even have to change what I'm already doing. It's right there. So once I hit that and I know, like, this is fun, and that gives you like a couple of chapters, whatever, to make a decision.
Yeah.
So that's number 1. But number 2, during journaling club last month, I made myself a DNF graveyard. And so it literally has these little graves on it where I can write the title and the author. And it also has space where I can put another note for myself that'll be like, maybe try again in the summer, or maybe try as an audiobook, like something like that. Like,
I like that.
I like where this is going, but I just don't have the headspace for it right now. Like, I can put a note. So if it's something I want to return to, or if it's something that I know for sure, like, okay, this was way too science fiction-y, for instance, like my brain can't even handle this, I can move on.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. So I will keep you posted. I probably won't share titles, but if you want to come talk to me personally, you can. Because, like I'm saying, just because it's not for me doesn't mean it's not for everybody.
Right.
So I'm not here to say that something's a bad book, because I don't really think that there's a bad book. It just, Yeah. So how are you tackling this challenge?
Similar. Last year was the first year that I've ever hit 100 books. And, I really thought that I was going to be like, I did it. I reached 100 books. And then every time that I would talk to somebody, they would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so impressed. And I'd be like, well, I mean, if you really dig into it, and so I started listing all these reasons. And then I just like kind of sat down and I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why did that wasn't my goal for the year. I think my goal was actually 50. And I doubled that goal, which is great. And I enjoyed so many books last year. But there were a lot of books that I didn't enjoy or that I read because they were short. And I was like, that's not a reason. Not saying that short books aren't great, but I was just meeting a quota. I wasn't reading them because I was dying to read this book that only happens to be like 125 pages. I was reading it because I was trying to make my book count. And so this year I went into it of, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to read books because I enjoy them. And if I'm not enjoying the book, including a short book, if I'm not enjoying it, I'm not going to read it. And again, it's something that I'll go back and retry. Like we talked about this a little like last week when I was reading a book and I got about halfway through the book and I just mentally, I couldn't handle it at the time. And I said, I want to finish it, but not now. That kind of thing.
Yep.
And so I was like, no. So this year, that's my mindset. And I finished the book. And it took me like 3 weeks to read it. but I enjoyed every minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas normally, if I have a book past like 4 days, I start getting tired of it, and I'm like, I want to just be done with it.
The why am I still reading this
feeling?
And
and I'll just rush through it. So, and I've done it with good books, and I know that they're good books. So yeah, so that's my focus this year.
I was really impressed too, because the other day, Sara went to try a book, and I kind of gave her this look, because I was like, oh, like my whole life has been books, and so I know exactly which one you're talking about. Like, never on my radar, not something I would ever try. And you were like, no, I'm so going in with an open mind. And it was without saying the title, because not going to do that, but it was what, 2 sentences?
2 sentences.
And you were like, yeah, that's not happening.
I said, oh, my eyes glossed over like 2 sentences in. And it was so funny because someone literally came up to me yesterday and said, oh my gosh, I love that book.
Yeah.
And I said, she's like, I read the whole series. And I said, I'm so happy for you.
It is so well received. It is so, people love this book. It's part of a series. They come in clamoring for it. There's people I know who reread it every couple of years. Like, it's just, I can't do it. And I just thought it was so cute when you were like, well, that's officially my first definite DNF of the year.
Yeah. I said, does it count? I only read 2 sentences.
Yeah. So I will definitely keep you posted on how I do. Hopefully Sara will keep us posted too, because I really think this is a huge thing, because we should all be enjoying what we're reading.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Well, let's get down to business.
Yes.
Just kidding. We'll talk about what we're here for this year. Well, first I'll talk before we get to that. So we have an adult reading challenge every year. And if you guys didn't know, Bethany is the one that puts those together, and she does an incredible job every year. To the point of, I never used to participate in our adult reading challenges, and now I do. Look at that. Growth.
I'm so proud.
Growth. So we wanted to tell you guys what our 2025 challenge is. And if you guys want to do a drum roll, we are doing a bracket challenge. And you go, oh, guys, what's a bracket challenge? Don't worry, I'm going to explain it. So Bethany's husband actually did this for us last year, and a few of us did it as staff. And he is awesome. He made, he made Bethany this bracket, and then 2 of us stole it. But we decided that every month last year we would decide what was our favorite read of that month, and it would go in this little box. And then your 2 of the boxes you were kind of scouring down until you got to your favorite read of the year. So that's what this year's going to be. So basically, whatever your favorite book is for January, you'll write in the box. Whatever your favorite book is for February, you'll write in a box. And then between those 2 books, you're going to see which one you liked more out of those 2. And that'll move to the next box. So if you're familiar with any kind of like football team, if you're familiar with any kind of baseball, like not draft, but like kind of bracket thing.
Yeah, it makes me think of, basketball with March Madness.
Yes.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, kind of like that. So the January and February, whatever the winner, will just keep moving until you get to the last book of the year. So with that, you won't actually be finished with this challenge until December. And I know some people like to get those challenges and see how quickly they can finish them, but not this year.
But that's the twist. We're challenging you to read all year long.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I was actually really excited about this one, and I do want to clarify, you didn't steal it. I asked you guys to do it with me.
Oh,
and it was really fun for me to see the way that they came out, because we all we personalized them a little bit. So like we kind of decorated them with like a little bookish character or whatever, and then we were putting the way we had done it, we were doing images of the covers. And so Sara's was all beautiful and colorful. And like just pumpkin spice latte. I mean, she was like, it was a whole vibe.
Yeah.
And then there was myself, and Kathy Ann's had a little bit of color to it. Mine was very dark for some reason.
It was like all the covers were like
all
black.
All of my covers were black. I
like
don't know
blue.
What happened. Yeah. But I will tell you, I read some good books.
Yeah.
I read some good books. And so it was really fun to kind of watch them battle it out to see which one was my book of the year.
Yeah.
So, and that's the fun thing too. There's no right or wrong answers.
No.
So you can be a person who maybe reads 1 book a month, and it'll be easy for you to scribble down your titles. And you might be a person who reads 12 books a month, and you're really going to have to think, which read did I enjoy the most?
Yeah. I'm really struggling right now.
Yeah.
Like, and I've only read 2 books. And I'm like, oh no, what am I going to pick? So
That's
I'm very
awesome.
excited, but it is such a cool way that this challenge is personalized for
Mm-hmm.
everybody. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. I love it.
yeah.
Um, Along with that, I do want to say the challenge from last year, so 2024, which is actually the reason we're here. So it's kind of what we're leading up to. We had twice as many people complete that one as we had for the year prior. And I
Woo-hoo!
just was so excited every time somebody would come in and get their finisher prize. And it was really exciting for us because what we had done was it was a decades challenge. And so they had to read 12 different decades,
Mm-hmm.
and the book could be published in that decade or take place in that decade. And we had a few people who were like, it's really hard to find something for this one or that one. And so they were reading things that they never, ever would have picked up. And there was a couple people who actually said, I never would have picked this up, but I ended up loving it. We had people who found new authors, like one person, one of the books that we're going to talk about in a minute, they
Mm-hmm.
loved it so much they came back and checked out like every other book by that author. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just leading people into genres and time periods that they didn't know they had interest in. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was just really fun to watch and to talk to people about books. Like,
Yeah.
it was exciting. So,
And what a cool way, because, sometimes when you talk to people and you're like, oh, well, what do you like to read? And they say like one genre.
mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, but is that the only genre you've ever like tried?
Yeah.
And so this was a perfect opportunity to be like, no, let's get you. Let's
Mm-hmm.
get you out of there a little bit. We'll nudge you in a different direction.
Yeah. We had a couple of people who read nonfiction who never read nonfiction that were just like, this book was wow. And I'm like, oh, that says everything.
Yeah, that's the exact point. I love that.
It was
Well,
cool.
all right. Well, do we want to get started with the adult reading challenge? Bethany went and made this amazing PowerPoint. And so we're going to talk about everyone's favorite books from their challenges last year. So if you did the challenge, you remember seeing on the back of the page, what was your favorite read out of all of these books? And so those are the books that we're going to talk about. I'm really excited. Are you ready?
I am ready. And I will have all of these titles in the show notes. But if you go onto our Facebook or Instagram and you scroll down, you will see there's like a little video. And so it kind of makes the book the star of the show. So
It's really
it was
cute.
fun to put together.
Yeah, super cute. Big fan. Big fan. All right. Well, do you want to start?
If you want me to.
Sure.
So the first book was The Happy Place by Emily Henry, which Sarah and I love Emily Henry. She is usually contemporary romance, and this book, we're just going to give you guys like a little snippet. We're not going to dig too deep. Some of these we've read, some of them we haven't. But the basic premise of this, you have two exes who are pretending that they are still together for one last vacation with their friends because they did not tell their friends that they broke up 6 months ago.
And I would just like to say that honesty is the best policy, but that's just me.
But then we wouldn't have had a book.
Yeah, you're right.
So
You're right.
There you go.
All right, so the next book is The Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict, which is a historical fiction book, and it's about J.P. Morgan's personal librarian, who is actually a Black woman who is forced to hide her identity and pass as white. So I've read that book. It's pretty good.
I also read another book by Marie Benedict with one of my book clubs, and everybody loved it. Yeah. So she does a lot of historical fiction.
Yes, very popular.
Okay, our next one, this is actually on my to-read list now. It's called 84 Charing Cross Road, and it's by Helene Hanff. It's nonfiction, and it is 20 years of correspondence between a freelance writer in New York City and a used book dealer in London. And all I truly know about this book, though, is the person who read it. It was purposely for one of the decades. They told me that they were totally charmed. That was the actual phrase she used with me.
Love that.
The book is only 106 pages, and she was just completely excited to go finish it the one day when she was telling me about it.
Part of me wants to read that.
That sounds really sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming it's set up just like an epistolary novel. I mean, you're just following their letters, which I'm like, that might be really fun and a quick.
Yeah. But like quick because we want to read it. Not quick because we're meeting a quota. Quick.
Exactly. No. Quick because it's utterly charming.
That part. All right. The next book is The Blue Bistro by Elin Hilderbrand. And that is contemporary fiction. And it's about someone who's broke after a breakup. Relatable. Just kidding. Our main character relocates to Nantucket. So the author, she's very big into writing Nantucket pieces, I believe.
Yeah, I can't remember. Isn't she from out there?
She probably.
She's from that area or something. or
Yeah.
has a vacation home there. I feel like there's a connection.
Yeah. Fun fact, my aunt and uncle used to live in Nantucket, and I'm pretty sure she's the author that my aunt would run into and talk to sometimes.
Okay, see, that makes sense. Yeah, I thought she was from that area.
I believe that's the right author. We're going to say it is.
I love that. Okay, the next one has one of my most favorite descriptions that I found online. It's called Mary Jane, and it's by Jessica Anya Blau. It's literary fiction, but the description that I kept finding online for different ones about it, because I've never read it, is Almost Famous meets Daisy Jones and the Six.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I was like, that actually sounds really, because I don't know, I love the movie Almost Famous, love Daisy Jones and the Six, so I might have to try that one.
Oh, I never did Almost Famous. Maybe I need to do that one.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. All right, our next one is called Lone Women by Victor LaValle. Am I saying that right?
It's probably either LaValle or LaValle.
Yeah, sounds great. It is actually a horror book set in 1915, and it's an enormous steamer truck that must not be opened as she heads west, and a secret she tries to keep locked away. And that sounds real interesting.
Yeah, so I did read this, and I loved it, and it was on my list when I was doing my little battle. Oh. And so it's actually a steamer trunk. I'm sorry for the typo, guys. That's totally on me. But
it's okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole time you're reading it, it's really fun because there's this like, what's in the box suspense to it. Oh. And I loved it.
Fun.
Yeah. Our other coworker read it too.
Okay.
Okay. So the next one is The Paris Orphan by Natasha Lester. And I was trying to remember, this author's name sounds really familiar to me, and I feel like I've read something by her. It's historical fiction, and it's set in like 1942 New York City and Paris, and also 2005 France. And so it's one of those books where it's kind of like uncovering decades of secrets. So you kind of have like the war, and then something is found and you start piecing together and the secrets are revealed.
I like that.
I do like those kind of books too.
I might have to read that one.
Yeah.
Okay. My want to read list is all of a sudden getting really long. All right. Our next one is The Queen's Gambit by Walter Tevis. So fun fact, this is actually on my currently checked out under me. I have this checked out.
Fun fact, I saw it in the back of your car when we were on our way to record.
Okay, mind your business. Just kidding. It is literary fiction, and it's actually a TV show was made based off of it. And it's an orphan who is seen as unremarkable until she plays her first game of chess. So it's very high stakes, fast paced. And I like that. And that's honestly the reason, is because I wanted to watch the show. But I am one of those people that I'm like, oh, wait, it's based on a book. Oh, I have to read the book first. Like, I can't just go into the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. If you are curious, I would do both, because I thought the way that they showed the book, and I thought they did a really good job with it. I don't want to like spoil anything.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Okay.
Okay, I have another historical fiction. So somebody listed Radar Girls by Sara Ackerman. And it was, what I learned when I was looking it up is it's inspired by the real women's air raid defense. And they were actually these like guide pilots, and they would guide pilots into like a blacked out airstrip, and they would also track unidentified planes over the Pacific. So just another really cool historical fiction story about like things women did to help during the war. And I just thought that was kind of cool because I had never heard about this group. So I have to look more into that.
You know, as we're reading these titles, I'm going, I love how much historical fiction is listed. And I said, this challenge was reading through the decades. Of course, there's historical fiction.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next one is The Museum of Lost Quilts by Jennifer Chiaverini. And it is a fiction book. And it's actually number 22 in the Elm Creek Quilts series. But I want to say that this is one of those series that you can probably read out of order. Don't quote me on that. But I do think you could. But it is centered around antique quilts and the history surrounding them. And I think that's cool. The curation, of antique quilts and the history surrounding them. So, I don't know. I like quilts. I think they're cool.
I think that's such an amazing talent to like make a quilt. Okay, our next one is nonfiction. So it's Everything Beautiful in Its Time by Jenna Bush Hager. So it's nonfiction, and it's kind of like memoir adjacent because it's reflections on the year that she lost her grandparents, who were Barbara Bush and George H.W. Bush. Okay. So it's kind of like a charming, reflective because it talks a lot about like her family and stuff. I did actually read this one, and I do believe I read this in one sitting.
Oh, wow.
Like it was very, loved my grandparents. I miss
Mm-hmm.
them every day. And so it was really comforting to read because I just feel like sometimes we don't talk about like the connection between grandparents and grandchildren.
Yeah.
And I just really liked the way that she talked about them, because regardless of how somebody might feel, like politically or any of that kind of stuff, like whoever this person is still somebody's parent or grandparent.
Right.
And I think it's really interesting to see them through the child's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really cool.
Oh, very cool. Our next book is A Land Remembered by Patrick D. Smith, and it is a fiction book. It's often used for book clubs and classes, and it is often considered Florida's favorite historical novel. It's a family arrival in Florida and a coming-of-age story. And you know, one of my friends is actually reading this right now.
Okay.
So I'm curious.
One of the local
Very
book
popular.
clubs, one of the local book clubs that uses our library, they've been meeting forever, like 13 years or something like that.
Wow.
And so we have a lot of their members that come to our location, and they were all reading this book.
Oh, yeah, because all of a sudden I was like, wow, this book is really popular right now. Which it is.
Yep. Okay, the next one is Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. This is a historical fiction, obviously about the Underground Railroad, but like with a magical realism twist to it. Yeah, it was fascinating. We did it for a book club.
Yeah.
It was very well received.
I just saw what the other one is. And the next one, All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by, is that Brian Greenwood?
I always say it is Bryn.
Bryn?
It's Bryn. Bryn.
It's literary fiction, and it challenges all we think we know about love. It is full of potential triggers and will not be for everyone. So make sure you do your research if you decide to read that one. Was that one of the ones? Did you read that one?
Yes.
Yes. Did Kathy Ann read that one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It's on her book dress.
Yes.
It's one of those ones.
That's how I know it.
Yeah.
It's on her book dress.
Yeah, it was a book where I kept thinking I'm not supposed to like any of these people, and I just was so in love with all of them and rooting them for and crying, and I just had so many feelings when I read this book. It's very well written.
Sometimes those are the best kind.
I know. It was something.
Yeah.
Sarah, guess what the next book is? Okay, this I think was book of the year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We have had so many folks reading this author's like back catalog now. Countless people who come in and rave about this book, only to have them talk to us for 10 minutes and then us to smile and say, I read it and I loved it too. So if you haven't guessed already, it is The Women by Kristen Hanna. And I mean, it's historical fiction, but really it's the women who were in the Vietnam War. And I think one of the things that a lot of people have said about it is, as much as I love historical fiction, there's not a lot about the Vietnam War. And so It was really interesting to be in this other time period and to see what the women went through, what they contributed, and also what the effects on them were after the fact. So it wasn't just the men suffering from PTSD, it was also the women and the nurses. And it was really, really good. And it's about friendship and just everything.
I love that. That actually ended up being in the bracket that we did last year, that ended up being my second favorite book. But honestly, if you look at my favorite book, which was fourth one, and that one, they're completely different. And so I feel like I needed to have a favorite book for each genre.
Yeah.
Because I read that book, I devoured that book. It did not take me long at all to read. And it was one of those ones that I stayed up late reading.
And I think it's like 400 pages.
It is. Oh, it's
big.
Yeah.
It's bigger.
It's a big one. And so good. So good. All right. Sorry. Okay. The next one is Free Days with George by Colin Campbell. And I know you have very big feelings about this one. It is a memoir with the most amazing rescue dog who helped a man find his love of life and purpose again. Can you tell that Bethany wrote that?
But it's true.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I feel like that's one of your all-time.
It really does stay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it stays. I actually just gave it to somebody yesterday. They checked it out. So
I love that.
Yep. Okay, the next one is another nonfiction. So we actually had a lot of nonfiction readers. I love that so much. And it's called House of Sticks, and it's by Lai Tran. It's a memoir. It's a coming of age story. So finding her voice despite cultural expectations. And this is actually another one. So I know we just talked about the Vietnam War, but this one was really interesting because the family came from Vietnam to Queens, New York. And so it was kind of cool to see like this different cultural expectation and how they were raised and all that stuff. Because all of the memoirs I've read in my life, I've never had one where somebody came over from Vietnam. And so it was really interesting.
Yeah.
I think I know who picked this one for their favorite because I'm pretty sure it's who I talked to about this book. So I was so excited that she loved it.
Fun.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one, I'm just going to say it. This next one was actually mine. And it makes me really excited. It was Water for Elephants by Sara Green. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Gruen. But it's a fiction book, and there is a movie. So we actually did it for film club. Rosie Forever. I love that you put that.
Yes.
But Circus, Friendship, Love, Best Group of Misfits. That book, man, you and I both.
Yeah.
Man, we read that so fast.
It's funny. I had that book. I feel like we talked about it once on here before, or maybe it was just us talking at the desk, but it was on my like want to read list for years.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I just had never picked it up. And then we decided like, hey, crossover event, use it for like one of my adult book clubs, but also film club in case any of them want to see the movie.
Right.
And it just ended up, wow, what a book.
Oh, I went down a rabbit hole with that book.
Yeah.
That's when you know the book is really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was so good. Okay, the next one is Bunny by Mona Awad. It's fantasy is what was listed online for it, but it does have like a slight horror twist to it. So it's a outsider who joins an MFA program. And then I do have a warning, be careful the party invitations that you accept, because I did read this book. So it's about a creative writing program. And the people at the school and stuff, and like weird things start happening at this, she accepted an invitation, but I don't want to say too much because I don't want to accidentally spoil something, but
because I am going to read it.
I was shocked by how much I liked the book. And then somebody explained to me there is a thing in the book that's kill your darlings. And I just kind of read it and didn't think really too much of it. And then the person was like, no, that's like a creative writing thing. Like you have to be willing to kill your darling. So like when you're writing like your main character, your favorite person, are you going to be willing to let them go? And I was like, it kind of changed like the whole way I was looking at the book too. I was like, oh my gosh, mind blown. So it was kind of fun. And then Matt and I were just watching a TV show the other day, and there was like a street sign and it actually said kill your darlings on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I actually get that now, because I never took a creative writing class. So it just never clicked with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah,
Cool.
that's still on my want to read list. The next one is Killers of the Flower Moon by David Gran. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyways, it's nonfiction. And I might say this wrong as well. Osage. Okay, that's how I was going to say it. Osage murders and the birth of the FBI. And it talks about how the Osage members were among the richest in the world at the time, and about oil.
Yes.
So you read that one, right?
I did. Yeah. Our director is actually the one who suggested it to me.
Okay.
Like she was like, hey, I read this book and I know sometimes you're like curious about, FBI, like all that kind of stuff. And she's like, I think you might dig it. And woof, it was really interesting. And they did make a movie out of it.
Okay. That's what I was thinking.
It is, Martin Scorsese. So it's like an epic, right? So it's like 3 hours or 3.5 hours.
Okay.
So I did watch it, but like it took me 2 days because I just didn't have enough time to sit down and like watch it straight through.
Right.
But it was really fascinating. It was a crazy story. Okay, and then the last one we have on here right now is The Worst Hard Time by Timothy Egan. It's also nonfiction. We had more nonfiction than I realized. I'm proud of everybody. So it's like the history during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl and those who survived. And the person who wrote this one, I was actually surprised because I don't think I would have like pinned them to pick this one up. So I thought it was kind of fascinating. And it made me think of Kristen Hanna wrote a historical fiction about the Dust Bowl. That's what The Four Winds is.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, I don't know if I care about the Dust Bowl. And I was like, no, it was actually a fascinating story. And I'm pretty sure I cried when I read it.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm curious about this one too. Yeah.
Right. Well, I have a very important question for us. That's what are we reading now?
Well, I am currently reading My Lucky Life in and Out of Show Business by Dick Van Dyke.
Ah.
I am just utterly loving it. It's so precious. I was a huge Mary Poppins kid. That was definitely my favorite chapter so far, I should say. But like his admiration of Mary Tyler Moore is just lovely. Huge affection for his wife and his kids and stuff. And, as I'm getting further into it, I am learning a little bit more. Like I know, he did get like a divorce. So I'm kind of starting to get into some of that stuff. And there's things about him that I definitely didn't know. But I think what I'm really loving the most is he had this rule for himself where like when he was offered a couple parts, he was like, yeah, no. And the whole thing was, I want to make movies that I can bring my kids to without feeling embarrassed. And that's kind of how I feel like this book is too. It's written in a way where like it could go deeper and be more salacious if he wanted it to, but he also wants it to be something that his kids can read and still like not cringe and be proud of him and know that like my dad's this like great guy,
That's cool.
So I think, and I don't think he's doing it because he's hiding stuff. I just think he really wants it to be something that's available for everybody. And I think that's really, really cool. I am reading it. I'm calling it a hybrid version because I found out that the audiobook is actually read by him, but then the book has pictures. And so I decided I was going to do a little bit of both. So there's a couple chapters that I've actually listened to. And then there's other ones that I've been reading, or if he mentions something, I'm like grabbing the book so I can look at the pictures. So I'm doing like a hybrid read.
That's fun. That's fun though.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you do audiobooks, like you're like, man, I wish I had pictures.
Yeah, like when they're like, oh, please refer to PDF. And I'm like, how do I find PDF?
That part.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So what are you reading?
So I'm currently reading Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. And it's third in the let me make sure I say this right, the Rebel Blue Ranch series. And I did read the first two books. It's a cowboy romance, and you know me, I be loving my cowboy romances. But it's about, so all the books are they're about the siblings, and so this one is actually about the oldest sibling, and he's the male main character, and the female main character is his little sister's best friend. Who his little sister ends up with his best friend. So
you're not supposed to date your siblings' friends.
Listen, I'm about my business over here, but I'm loving it. It's got me like, it's got me kicking my feet, doing a little giddy, like and giggling. I do. I love them. They're so cute, and they're quick reads because I read so fast. Like I'm almost done with it, and I literally started it yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's what I'm reading.
Okay, so just curious for myself, like. Especially because we do have people looking for suggestions, like spice level, like Abby Jimenez, or a little more.
I would say a little bit more.
Okay.
They're very easy. The scenes are very easy to skip if you need to or if you want to, which I prefer to. So I would. There's only a few in there, but I would say more along like Tessa Bailey line.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay.
Teeter totter.
I'm asking for you guys because some of you come in and you're asking us for series. So
right.
Now I'll know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I do know I want to say that I read the first one on Libby. I don't know that they're physical copies in the library system. I've personally bought mine. So
I was like, I better know how we can get them.
Yeah, that part. yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it.
Very cool.
So,
all right. Well, Sara, where can they find us?
That you can always find us on Facebook or Instagram, and feel free to tag us and stuff, especially like on Instagram. We love sharing when people tag us and stuff, like what they're reading and stuff like that. But you can also email us at themulberrylibrary@gmail.com. So, yeah.
It's good to be back.
It is. Great episode. Lots of books. Lots of book titles.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy reading, Mulberry.